recording. So obviously the big topic right now, which we don't normally talk about this, but is Afghanistan, huh? You guys see all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, we could say a lot of things, I'm sure, that we probably shouldn't, but yeah, it's just sad that I think it's 13 now. 13 soldiers they said were killed.
Yeah, that's what
the count is that they know of. That they're telling us.
That they're telling us, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out there's more.
That's that we don't actually get to hear about.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, not to really delve into it, but I mean, I'm not really surprised at this based on the acts that happened during the week. So I'm not really surprised that it's happening, which is sad. I mean, it's horrible to see our soldiers and our people getting killed. So
yeah. Everybody's been saying it.
Yeah.
Can't trust them.
Yep. All right.
So I just messaged Steve. I just sent him the link. So is his, I can ask him, is it BRISBOIS or BRISBOIS? Is it because of the French with him being Canadian?
I think.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
I think it's pronounced BRISBOIS. I'll ask him when he comes on.
Yeah, that's BRISBOIS.
Yeah. But yeah. What else going on? Anything?
Not much, man.
Yeah, staying busy.
Always. How's your prep going, Maddie?
Going well. We changed the protein around a bit, just because I've been so hungry. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, it's not ideal to be a female competitor and having the appetite that I have.
All right.
We've been trying to combat that. I've been a lot more coffee and Diet Coke than I probably can handle, but we're getting through it. I'm pretty happy with how my physique is coming in. Last time I think I leaned out too far out and leaned out too much, so I ended up looking a little bit like a string bean. So it was like a 9-day rescue mission to carb up and get myself full. And this time the goal is to just hold on to the muscle for as long as I can, and really not cut down too far until a week or 2 weeks out, get to that optimal leanness without killing myself.
Yeah, that's the part I always enjoyed as a competitor, is like each show is always a little different, But we're first time is like the approach. You learn a little bit. Every show you always learn a little bit and you come better the next time. So it was always a good learning lesson every show.
Your body never responds the same to each show either, does it?
No, man. Your caloric requirement always changes, especially for us as we grew bigger and put on more muscle, and definitely had to always make readjusting things steadily.
Yeah, there's no one black and white plan that works every time. Never.
No. That would be easy if it was, right? I mean, that would make it so much easier.
Yeah, it would, but it certainly isn't that way. That's for sure. And like Maddie this time. I mean, when she sent me a diet that she was doing last time, I looked at it and I'm like, holy shit, she's eating as much protein as I would on my diet.
Really?
It was like a lot of meat and a lot of protein, a lot of eggs, a lot of chicken.
Wow.
Like, holy crap! No wonder she's hungry with what I gave her.
Well, I always tell everybody when I'm working, when I'm getting ready for a show, if you're hungry, that's always a great sign. I mean, that means you're
it's working
in a good place. Your body, obviously, it's metabolizing the food that you're consuming and digesting real well. So that's good.
Yeah,
that's one of the main questions I'm always asking. How's your appetite? Are you hungry? What's going on? How's everything digesting? So
you've got to forget that fine line between being hungry and actually wanting to chew your own arm off, though, right?
Right.
Right. It can get. I said this to Maddie the other day. It can get really lonely when you're up at night by yourself. Everybody else is in bed, and you are absolutely starving. All you want is something to eat. And I used to go and make mushrooms. I used to go and just cook some mushrooms because there's veggies in them. But it's not easy, man. It's not.
Yeah. I think I was a lot like you, Maddie. Like when I would get into this, I would like devour like diet sodas and diet drinks just to kind of fill myself up with liquids.
Yeah, that's how I do it. I would feel guilty if I ate something extra or off plan, or even if it's just adding more vegetables to my meal. Like, oh, it's not in the plan. Let me just have a 0-calorie Diet Coke and
Right.
Wait till the next meal. So
I used to even take like I would get like the diet like orange sodas and I would freeze them in like ice cube things and ice cube containers and like just eat the ice, and that was like a huge treat.
God, I used to do the same thing. I used to do exactly the same thing. I used to, and they were like little popsicle that type thing. I put them on a plate and eat them one at a time with a bit of tissue around.
I even got so desperate to the point where I bought one of those like little Slurpee makers, and I took the ice and I put it and put the diet freeze the diet soda and put it in like a little slushy maker.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
It's pretty awesome what we have now for in the diet industry, like those 10-calorie Jello cups and dessert flavored gum, and I have nacho flavored seasoning for popcorn that I put on chicken if I'm desperate.
Right.
We're kind of lucky, like how food's changed.
Yeah, we had our little things too, but not to the degree of all the up and coming little diet trend stuff nowadays.
I remember when I first came over here for one of my pro shows. I don't even know which one it was. Probably a pro debut, Night of the Champions in '93 or '94. Probably '93. I went to stay with Mike Quinn in Boca Raton afterwards, and a good friend of mine called Steve Wing, and they showed me all this stuff. It was Molly McButter. Remember that?
Yeah.
Molly McButter. And I'm like,
I remember that.
And I'm like, wow, you can't really have this. Like, oh yeah, you can. And so I took a load of it back to England with me. I had Mrs. Dash.
Mrs. Dash, yeah.
All different things of Mrs. Dash. Big boxes of Equal, because we couldn't get that in England.
Didn't Milo send you a bunch of stuff, you said?
Milos used to send me all the time.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Metarex bars, and then Pam spray, because we didn't have Pam spray in England.
Right.
All those things, I'm like, man, it must be so awesome to live in America and diet for a show. I remember, do you remember Lance Dreyer?
Who's that? Yeah.
Lance Dreyer actually sponsored me after the year I won the Junior Mr. Britain. He sponsored me with a company called Proline Supplements. And I went out to stay with Lance in Arizona. And he had a guy, a nutritionalist that was working for him. I forget the guy's name. But I sat with him, with Lance and that guy for days and days and days, just picking their brains. They must have been sick of me asking questions. But I came away from there with a lot of brilliant things. And I remember him telling me about the first time I ever tasted sugar-free, non-fat frozen yogurt. I'm like, no, there's no way you can eat this. It blew my mind that you could actually eat that shit. And it was so good. But yeah, I got that. All those things are why I wanted to move to America. You know that, right?
So that's the reason then. Okay.
Well, one of the reasons.
Food. Yeah.
But yeah, it's an eye opener when you don't come from a country that has those things. And access to them, it makes a massive difference on a diet.
Oh yeah, I feel like you're missing out on so much. I'd imagine.
It really is amazing.
Now, do they have crystal lights and all that as well over there?
No, we don't have crystal light over there. No, that's another thing I used to get sent over, crystal light.
Yeah, I think that's what you said about Milo. Sent you some of that, right?
Crystal light, Equal, the Dash, all those things were just like, man, it just made it too good. And the flavored coffee as well. Flavored coffee. Oh, we couldn't get that in England. But
no.
I think they do it now, but they didn't then. And like the French vanilla nut or something.
Hazelnut.
Oh, it was just amazing. Like, this is just too good to be true. Makes diet so easy. But then you get used to it and it gets not to be easy again.
All right.
Damn sight easier than just eating plain egg whites.
Hey, sorry guys. Steven's having technical issues here. I think he's about as good at computers as Ian is here.
Oh man! Hey, and I saw the title.
I'm kind of walking him through how to get on Zoom here, so I apologize.
I saw the title of the podcast. Right?
Yeah, about
I was waiting for you to say something, man. I said, I got to get his. This will get his attention.
Yeah, I just saw that when I pulled it up just now. I was like, oh Lord.
The amount of shit they give me about that is unbelievable. You'd think that they both did rack pulls every workout the way they'd go on at me.
I know.
I
We
think
even
I hit
got
a nerve, actually. I think
we
I
even
hit
got the fans are saying it now, so it's good. It's working.
There you go.
right.
So you guys see that I posted Billy Smith died, Thunder.
Yeah.
I knew Billy.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah. I knew him pretty well. I remember when I first came over and I was staying in California quite a bit in Santa Monica, and I met him in Gold, and he took me into the back office in Gold. Ed Connors introduced me to him, and he was a super nice guy. I was actually shocked. Do you have any idea what caused his death?
No, I've been researching, and they're still not saying.
What was he, mid 50s?
50, yeah, mid 56, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean,
Yeah, I'll put him up here in a second. Hold on, I gotta get
He's
this.
a big guy, big dude.
yeah, I used to love watching that show when I was a kid when that show was being played.
You're trying to make me feel old there, right?
What's that?
Trying to make me feel old there, aren't you? That's what you're trying to do. It's
Well,
a shaving contest. The Rat Pole podcast, and I used to watch that when I was a really small child.
not really small, but, small enough.
Yeah, there he is.
Gosh, I won't even tell you that because I'll make you guys feel all old. I don't even know who this guy is.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, American Gladiators was when? Late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, then they had the they revamped it when
Yeah, remember Hulk Hogan was
Hulk Hogan and Layla Ali was on it. She was like the co-host as well.
Yeah, 90 to 92 is when he was on it, it says here.
yeah, I met him in Gold's, and he went through a whole. I think he put together a Gold's Gym nutrition line. I think.
Oh, really?
And then he ended up. I think it was his own thing, Ultra Fit or something. But he was a clever guy. He knew his stuff. It's a shame. It really is. I saw that and I'm like, damn, it seems like every day. I don't know whether it's just a thing. I don't know if it's because people are doing things wrong or whether it's the fact that all us older bodybuilders are just getting old and shit happens, I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see who else. Somebody else passed away too. Who was it? It wasn't the body. The drummer for the Rolling Stones. What was his name?
Charlie, yeah, Charlie, the drummer. He was 80. He died at 80 years old now.
Yeah.
Well, it was all right.
Yeah, and today or yesterday is the anniversary of
Death and taxes.
Rich Piana died.
Say hello, Mac.
Hey, what's up, Mac?
So,
Hey.
how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Man?
Good. Good to see you.
Come on. I may need him to call Steven to get him on the thing.
All right. You're having technical.
Walk him through it, right?
Yeah, I gave him the.
I'm lucky when I have technical difficulties. I just shout Mac and he comes in and sorts it out for me. I'm gonna be screwed when he's gone.
Yeah, well, sorry I wasn't on. Sorry I missed it last week, guys. I mean, we got caught up at work, so I apologize. It was a good show. I wish I could have made it.
Yeah, I was hoping you were on because we started talking about that Shelby guy, and I knew you had some.
I've I had a
familiar with him.
I'm not. I mean, I know of him. I don't know him personally, but I took on one of his clients. That's the first time I really came to. This was like over a year ago, about a year and a half ago, right before COVID really hit in. One of his clients, I'm not sure, where she's at nowadays, but I started training her, and he was doing the nutrition, and her boyfriend was asking me a few things about her protocol, and he was saying that he needed to get 30 aldactones,
how many?
10 diazides, 30 aldactones leading into the last 10 days. She was going to, build up to 100 milligrams of aldactone a day. I believe that's what it was. And the last week, switch over to diazide. Then, And as soon as I heard that, I was like, wait, hold on. Excuse me. What's the, what? Are you trying to dry up? Are you trying to dry up Lake Michigan? What's going on here? What are you trying to do here? So right there, and I was, thank God I was able to, talk some sense into her to switching over and let me help her, and because it probably maybe saved her life, because that's kind of scary. So
That's super scary. Absolutely terrifying.
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get into the guy, but I mean that's just absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Steven, you made it. Can you hear us? Yeah, you're still on mute, I think. Can't hear you.
Did he join with audio?
It said audio was kicking in, so let me see.
Audio.
It says connecting to audio. Hold on. There we go.
Hey,
Hey, there you are.
I think we got pay dirt. Are we good?
We're good, man. We're good.
Man, every time I go on these Zoom calls, it's
Are you able to
It's
turn
an
your
order.
phone sideways so we get a full screen?
yeah, how do you okay, let me do that here, brother.
See if you can turn it.
Yeah, I can do that. I gotta set the damn thing up. See what they got going on here.
See if it
Jason.
switches. It's not switching yet.
Yeah. We put
Well,
some
well, I'll
stuff
talk to you
down
like
with
this.
Phone doesn't go away on me, man.
He's got he probably has the screen lock on.
Yeah, you probably have the screen lock on. You can turn it back. You're good. We'll
Well,
be
no,
all
if you
right.
go to the upper right hand corner and scroll down, pull down, there should be like an unlock of the screen.
Upper right hand.
Yeah, just go to the upper right hand corner of your phone and just pull down on it.
Okay.
Now, did you see like a little icon for the screen lock?
Let me check that out there, my friend.
Yep.
I'm not seeing anything right here.
You're fine.
Yeah, if you go to where your battery marker is and just kind of put your finger on the screen and kind of scroll down.
Yeah.
Next
Takes
to
me
it.
Is the screen lock there?
Which one is the screen lock?
There should be like a little lock.
Lock with like a
Like a little padlock.
circle. Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, it looks like this.
Okay.
Now just hit that button. It should unlock
You
it.
guys have to understand I'm so green on this stuff, man.
Okay. There you go.
Hey, there we
There we
go.
go.
Got it.
I can't even begin to tell you how this is to try to learn all this stuff since I haven't done it. I used to leave it up to somebody else for years.
Right. Yeah.
I have my 9-year-old girl show me how to use my phone sometimes. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
Ian, look at that. I love that beautiful bald head of yours, man.
Steve, it's an honor. It's an honor to meet you.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, so I heard you do a lot of rack pulls, by the way, man.
Oh man, yes.
He's the king of them.
That's off the bat. People didn't do that.
Where'd you hear that out? Yeah, see, I
Hey,
told you,
Ian,
man.
you gotta know they set me up for this, man.
Word's traveling already, and I think you were the
Mhm.
the unclaimed like creator of the rag pull. You're just like humble enough not to admit it. So.
Goodness, man.
So, Steve, how do you pronounce your last name? BRISBOIS or is it BRISBOIS?
Yep.
BRISBOIS.
Right,
Okay.
BRISBOIS.
BRISBOIS. Okay.
It's probably one of the first times anybody's ever had it right, Jason, because when
Yeah.
I first came down here from Canada, they used to bastardize the name so much, nobody knew how to say it. So
Well, I took some French in high school. I remember a little bit of it. I remember.
there you go.
some of
Yeah, I
it,
come
so.
from a French town in Ontario, in Canada, man.
Mhm.
I went to French school most of my whole life, and then,
Mhm.
but yeah, I'm still pretty fluent in French.
Okay. Now I was looking at when I was doing some research here. I mean, you started out as a swimmer and a diver. I didn't know that.
That's interesting. Yes, I did.
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty
last couple
cool.
Years, man. I was a pretty good athlete back in the day in a lot of different things. Played some hockey for a while. I did pretty well at that, even for a short guy like me. And then I got into the swimming and diving, and became really good at it. I actually had an invitation for the Canadian diving team back when I was in high school. I think I was like 15 years old. But back in those days, my parents didn't have the money to send me to Toronto, and one thing led to another. But I had pretty good talent doing a lot of different things. But yeah, it was a fun sport.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, and when did you start competing? What year?
1983.
83. And you got your pro card when?
86.
86.
Yeah, 86. Because so I started bodybuilding in I started weightlifting in was it 82? I think, yeah, 82. Because that was 4 years later when I won the universe. I started bodybuilding in 82. I went to the gym one day with a friend of mine because where I come from, it's a large mining municipality. We have it's pretty hardcore place back in my day. I mean, not hardcore to the terms of crazy city, but we used to party a lot, and I was really good after the diving and swimming about 18 years old, 17, 18, coming out of high school. I just got into the party scene for a long time. Weekends with, in my hometown, it was always parties going on. That's what we did. And I got into a lot of trouble, man. Unfortunately, a lot of things happened. And I woke up one day. I just said that I got to change. The reason I changed is I developed a kidney disease when I was a young kid. I was
going to ask you about that. I saw that. Yeah.
I developed a kidney disease when I was in high school, the last year of high school. And had a lot of tests done over time during that year. My mom actually worked for a doctor. So I ended up going. So basically what I was doing, I was urinating blood 24/7 for well over a year.
Sure.
And so I go on to have this test, and I was rushed to the hospital in Toronto back in my day, and on my 18th birthday, by the way, which was last week was my birthday. I turned 60 years old last week. So I'm in the 60s now, which is an interesting field to be in. So all the 50s are gone. I ended up going to the hospital at 18. I was rushed there, and they did all this test and stuff on me and found out I had a kidney disease, and it was called glomerular nephrosis. Basically, it was a condition where I had too much concentrated sources of protein in my blood and caused the blood vessels to burst. And from that point on, I had to take antibiotics for several years off and on. And one day I remember going up to my mom and saying, hey, listen, I'm not taking this stuff anymore. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm changing my life. I decided to go to the gym. A friend of mine invited me one day in my hometown. And, his name was Wayne, good friend of mine back then, and still today. And I just took it up in bodybuilding, and I decided to look into nutrition. And I became really good at what I was doing. Well, 9 months later, I ended up winning my first contest in bodybuilding. And so I'm like, well, this is pretty interesting. And I just kept going. And so I ended up competing. 83, 84, 85, I ended up making the national championships in Canada. And I was like the up and coming star. And I wanted to go to the universe. And they were picking a team to go to the universe. Sorry, guys.
All right.
And I ended up going to my first Canadian championships and placed second in the lightweight division. So I was pretty upset because I lost that by 1 point. And so here's the interesting story behind it. Our federation told all the athletes that next year, 1986, the Canadian Bodybuilding Championships, they were going to pick a team to go to the universe because that was the first year they drug tested for the Mr. Universe. So I'm like, okay, so 85 was the first year I ever took steroids. And I had only taken them for about 2 months. It was my first time trying them because I was afraid, only because a lot of the contraindications on steroids back in my day were had to do with kidney problems and glomerular nephrosis, which I had. So I was kind of a little leery on taking stuff. But I did, and I had a decent diet, so I felt that it was helping me out. But anyway, I did it for a couple months in 85, and I didn't want to. So I said, forget that stuff, man. And so I decided to train for that whole year in 1986 for the Canadian Championships, not going in to win the contest because it didn't matter to me. I wanted to go to the universe because they were picking a clean team to go to the universe. You had to sign an affidavit. So I was drug-free. It was like, again, I only took it for a couple of months. So I was 86, completely drug-free. I ended up going to the Canadian Championships, and I was really disappointed because as I weighed in, I never ever weighed myself for that year. I never stepped on the scale. I used the mirror as my guide. And the year prior, I weighed into the championship, the Canadian Championship, about 154 pounds, which was 154 and under.
Mhm.
I went to the Canadian Championships the year later in Vancouver, BC, and I ended up weighing in at 143. And I was very upset. And the promoter said, well, that's great, Steve. You can go bantamweight. I said, nah, I'm going to go lightweight. He goes, well, what are you doing? Are you stupid? You're going to give away 10 pounds. I said, well, I don't care. I said, I'm not really, I'm here to go to the universe. So I want to compete as lightweight because that's what I competed in last year. And I want to go lightweight. He goes, all right, you're making a big mistake. I said, it's fine, man. I'm going to do it anyway. And regardless, the Canadian team would have picked me for either lightweight or bantamweight as a drug-free bodybuilder. But I ended up going on stage for preliminaries, and you guys are very aware of this in bodybuilding. You get called out for comparisons with people to decide where you are, right? When I walked on stage in 1986 in the Canadian Championships, I was not called out one time. I've never heard that in my life. I've never been part of that in my life. They never called me up for a comparison. And so at that point, I was devastated. Lightweights go off stage, and I'm sitting backstage. I'm about ready to cry, man. And my friend comes up to me, and he goes, Steve, what the hell's going on? What's the matter with you? I goes, dude, what happened out there? He goes, what do you mean? I said, they didn't compare me. I mean, what was wrong? He goes, you've got to be freaking kidding me. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, they didn't have to, Steve. They were comparing second place on down. When they saw you walk on stage, I don't know if you heard the audience, man, the whispers in the audience. But they didn't need to compare you. They already knew. And why they didn't compare you, we don't understand. But they didn't have to. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is unbelievable. So I ended up winning the lightweight division as a drug-free bodybuilder in my country. And I knew all the other winners for the other categories were on steroids because it's easy to tell. So here I am winning the lightweight position at division at 143 pounds. And now, as you guys know, they have the overall championships and your national championships, right? Mm-hmm. So they call all of us on stage, and I don't care at that time. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to the world championships. So they decide, okay, here's the overall champion of the Canadian Championships 1986. And they said, Steve. Unbeknownst to me, I forgot the heavyweight guy was named Steve also. So he starts jumping up and down, and the promoter called my last name. And the audience absolutely went freaking bananas. I mean, you got to be kidding me. I just won an overall championship in my country. And as far as I know, I'm the only bodybuilder in the history of the world to win their national championships at a bantamweight weight.
Yeah.
So that was a really good milestone for me. And then I decided to turn pro after that. Mm-hmm. And that was in October 1986. So I entered my first pro contest in May of 1987, the Night of Champions. And at that time, I decided, okay, I'm going to turn pro and I've got to take some juice. Mm-hmm. And so that was the way it was. I ended up putting 20 pounds on from October 86 to May of 87. Went to the Night of Champions, my first show ever, professional bodybuilding. And against the promoters, who was Wayne DeMilia. Apologize, guys. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Wayne DeMilia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he tried to convince me not to turn professional after I won the universe. I'm saying, well, I was told by Bob Kennedy, who owned Muscle Mag magazine. Ian, I'm sure you remember Bob Kennedy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He was a fantastic guy, man. What a super dude, super guy. I'd known him for several years. But he told me, Steve, you got one of the best physiques in the world. Your proportions are absolutely unbelievable. And I love the way he talked to me about that. I said, okay, Bob, you got to turn pro. So I did. So I call up Wayne DeMilia. I said, I'm turning pro. He goes, you're making a mistake. I said, I'm allowed. I won the universe. I showed up in May 87 at the Night of Champions. No, I'm sorry. The week before, there was a championship in Toronto. It was the couples championships in bodybuilding, which they don't have anymore. And they happened to come to Toronto. And if you guys remember Erica Mess from Denmark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She came and she wanted to compete, and she saw me. She knew of me, so they asked me to compete in the show. I said, "Well, we're getting ready for next week. It's the Night of Champions." And so, who was there? Tony Pearson was there. Who else was there? I think Mike Ashley was there. And they had all told me, "Steve, just come and compete, man. You just warm up for next week." So I did. And Wayne DeMillia comes to me backstage. He goes, "Hey, Steve, you proved me wrong, man. You proved me wrong. I've never seen anybody do that in my life." So I went to the Night of Champions next week and placed 9th out of 30 of the best bodybuilders in the world. And so I knew I had something going on. And in the magazine, they called me the next giant killer. And so that's where I started my career in pro bodybuilding from 86 to 92.
That's super interesting, man.
87 to 92.
Brilliant. Love it.
You did the 1990 Arnold, right?
Yes.
When Mike Ashley. Well, we interviewed Mike Ashley not long ago. He was on a few weeks ago.
Awesome. Super dude, man.
And and I'm assuming because they tested for that one, right?
Yep, they sure did.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you cleaned out for that one, or
yeah, and which was amazing. I'm like, wait a minute. They come to us the year before in IFBB, said, "Hey, Steve, we're going to drug test, bodybuilders, I should say. We're going to drug test next year." Started with the Arnold Classic. So I stayed clean. So I went in the Arnold Classic in 1990 and placed 5th in that show. And I hadn't taken any steroids for about 10 months. So to me, it was a great milestone. Probably some of my best outings those 3 years in the Arnold Classic. That's amazing, guys.
It's 92
I haven't seen that in years, man.
I had to blow the dust off of it for you, man.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite shows, man. Did very well in that show. I placed 5th the first year, 6th in 91. I mean, 1990, I played 6th in 91, and 5th in 92 again. So to me, that was probably some of my better shows. I loved competing in there, man. And, had a great time.
I can definitely tell you took some time on your posing routine.
You know what's funny, Jason, is I've been watching some of this stuff from people today, and I really got to tell you that I might get some slack, but a little bit of flack for this, but the guys don't know how to pose today. I'm sorry, man. You hit a pose on stage, boom, boom. Guys, hold your pose, man. Hold your pose. And then the posing routines, they're just, I don't know who's showing these people, but it's not like back in our day. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of it. I just watch things here and there on the internet. But I think there's something to be said about the posing today. I think that a lot of guys, personally, women, I think, do a better job at it. I think the guys don't know how to hold the poses right. I don't think they hold them long enough. I think they need to be taught how to do that. And it's not easy. I mean, let's face it, man. Posing is much harder than training in the gym.
Yeah, it is.
You got to learn to tense every single muscle in the body and breathe it properly. That's really important, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
But with a smile on your face, which is not easy. Make it look effortless. I mean, I remember studying your posing when I was coming through, Steve. I mean, I remember watching many. I know all those videos. I watched them many a time when I was coming up. Yeah, just the posing. It's almost like, I won't say it's forgotten. It's maybe making a comeback now with classic, but that was part of the deal back in our day.
Yeah.
You had to know how to pose, otherwise you weren't going to do well. Simple as that.
When I came out of the universe, they had one of the magazines. I forget who the writer was, but talked about the universe and talked about posing. And he went on to say that there was never been a better posing routine he's seen in his life at the universe. And he said that this guy is one of the greatest posers in the world. And that meant a lot to me back then because I didn't know that I was doing that well. And I had looked and studied a little bit. And you guys will remember this guy, Muhammad Makawi.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Remember him?
Yes.
And he used to train with Vince Gironda back in the day, who taught him a little bit of that. So I used to watch some of his stuff, and I watched some of the other guys. I said, man, these guys don't know how to pose. And I thought it was important to show the physique, man. Just put them out there, shoulder muscles, hold them. Don't give a quick pose and get the heck out. You gotta show what you have. And I really pride myself on that. And I did a lot of stuff with that. We helped a lot of people over the years with it too, man. I ended up bringing a lot of bodybuilding champions to some great places and a lot of Canadian championships back in my day. 3 of them, as a matter of fact, that I trained who won the Canadian championship and showed them how to pose. And it makes a big difference. You can be the best bodybuilder on stage on that single day. You could have the greatest physique. You could have the most hard, striated, cut body. If you can't show your muscles off, you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, you can forget it. You're not going to come up in the ranks. I mean, it doesn't matter. And I've seen that several times over the years. But I think it's important to put a lot of practice in that because and guys are afraid to pose. They don't want to hold it. I've already done my training. I'm okay. No, you're not okay. You got to put some pose in it, man. Unbeknownst to some of these guys today, maybe they do know. Posing does bring a lot of muscularity in.
Yeah, it does.
You just got to learn how to do it and hold them. And it's beautiful to see somebody who can hold a pose well and show off their physique, man.
How many years did you compete as a pro, Steve?
I went from 87 to 92. And I got out at the top of my game. I got out for the wrong reasons. And unfortunately, I left a lot on the table. It was one of those things that happened to me back then with Mohammed Ben Aziza when he died in 92. And his big thing was, he kind of set the standard back then on that muscular look. And so did Dorian. Dorian was, man, he was like, he was the icon to show. I mean, him and Mohammed Ben Aziza had that heavy duty, hard look, and they were really into a lot of the different stuff, excuse me, and the training that were a little different than us. And of course, Dorian trained very heavy. He did a lot of the Mensa style, which was from, what's the guy's name from I forget what it was. Yes,
Arthur
thank
Jones,
you, Jones. Yes, thank you. And but he did really well. But I think that Mohammed unfortunately took to another level, and we all know that he died from a heart attack from having massive amounts of diuretics in his blood and his body.
Can you tell us about that? What happened that day?
Yeah. So Mohammed was he lived in Paris, France. And we became really good friends because when we go to the athletes meetings for the contest, I remember him first in the first pro show. I think it was in 88 or 89. And he had come to the show and we had already met in Budapest, Hungary years prior when he, I think, won the universe a year prior to that. But I did a show, some seminar out there for Weider back in the day. But so through the years, Mohammed, we became very good friends. I had to translate for him in the athletes meetings, and we became we had a good close friendship over the years. And so on my last year of bodybuilding, our tour 92, we had all these shows, and after the Olympia in Finland, where Dorian had won, and that's the year I placed 11th in the Olympia, where Lou Ferrigno made his comeback. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he placed 11th. 12th, I should say, when I placed 11th.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got 11th, yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting to know that Lou Ferrigno was behind me because I didn't think he deserved to be there either. I mean, he had no legs. Sorry, man. Lou Ferrigno had no legs. He shouldn't have been there at all. Back in his day, he was that kind of guy, great upper body. But anyway, Mohammed, I think he had placed 6th in that contest. So you could see him through the next 3 weeks as we were communicating, going to shows and stuff all over Europe. I could see something happening to his face, and I was very concerned to some degree. I didn't think anything of it because we were all worried about ourselves. So we get to the last couple of shows, and Mohammed had won the last 2 and won in Denmark after he won it. We had to travel back, and I think I placed 4th in that show or 5th. I can't remember. And we had to go back to the hotel, which was in the middle of nowhere out of the Netherlands somewhere. I forget where we were. And we all went to the van and everybody's looking, where's Momo? I said, I don't know. Let me go look. I go look for him and he can't move. He's standing in the shower, his hands against the wall, and he's puking and he's being sick. And so some of the guys had to carry him to the there he is. I mean, you guys know the height of this guy?
Let's see, what do they have him here?
He was 5'2".
5'2". Wow.
Wow.
And I'm 5'4", so this guy was massive.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to carry him to the van. So we go back to the hotel and we got this restaurant there and we're partying because we're all going back to our home countries the next day. And we're all eating and having a few beers and stuff like that. And Momo, we call him Momo, Momo's sitting on a chair. And I go by him. I said, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I got to catch a flight 6 o'clock in the morning. So I hit Momo in French, pat him on the shoulder. You all right, buddy? And his eyes look a little sunken in his head. So I said, buddy, you need some help? He goes, no, I'm okay, Steve. I go to my hotel. I'm crashed out in less than no time. And I hear a big knock on my door. I open the door and it's Theory Pastel. And another French bodybuilder. He's talking to me in French. Steve, we need you, man. Momo. So I go check what's going on. And Momo's on the ground. And next to him is Al Q Gurley trying to perform some CPR. And then he's kind of swallowing his tongue. And I go next door because Porter Cottrell is there. Porter Cottrell happens to be a paramedic, a very good friend of mine back in those days too. And I go knocking, banging on his door. Porter, we need you. So he comes over and he's performing CPR on Mohammed. And they had called 911, wherever that was over there, and took him 45 minutes to arrive. Well, Porter had been doing 45 minutes of CPR on Momo, and it was his job. He couldn't stop. Unbeknownst to everybody else, Porter looks at me and I look at him and he's doing it. I know in my heart that Momo's gone. And Porter does too. But he had to keep going. Everybody else, they're feeling fine. Then the paramedics come, put him on a gurney, and they had to take him down a spiral stairs on a gurney.
Sheesh.
So they bring him to the hospital. We got a call not too long after that. It was over. We all went to the hospital, and there's Momo lying there. And Porter went over to him, and I remember vividly. Porter goes over, walks over, and puts his hands across him and closes his eyes because his eyes were still open. He closed his eyelids. We went back to the hotel, and Porter and I both went around the back of the hotel, took a walk together. We both cried our eyes out. And I said, I'm done. I'm over. I'm not competing anymore. I'm over it, man. And I stopped. I stopped because I felt I had other things coming into my life. And I left a lot on the table, but I gave up bodybuilding, something that meant a lot to me. I could have done more with. But at that point, I never competed. I had promoters. I had judges call me and ask me to come back. I had, at that time, I was one of the top 10 bodybuilders in the world. So it was a growing curve since then. Learned a lot, but it's been an interesting, wild ride, to say the least.
Wow, that's an amazing story. I have heard
snippets
of that story before, but I've never heard it from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I remember it happening.
Tragic story. And of course, over the years, as you guys know, many other guys have had some, somebody, Munzer, who else? Sonny Schmidt, so many other guys. And a lot of them, I don't know exactly what happened, but yeah, it was a sad situation, man. But I think that I probably should have continued competing because I knew what was wrong. And I was not a big user of diuretics. I think they played a minor role in bodybuilding. And for me, it wasn't something I wanted to play with my kidneys back in the day. So I believe I could have done a lot more. I think I was probably the next couple of years after that, I would have done really well. But it was, I can't have regrets. I decided to follow other avenues. And unfortunately, got me to some pretty crazy, wild places. And here I am today trying to put everything back together, guys.
Yeah, talking about diuretics, that's a big topic right now. We almost our last two shows we've been talking about it, and a lot of a lot of people are getting hurt and dying because of that stuff.
It's kind of ironic to hear that no one, so many people have succumbed to that, and that people are still willing to take that chance and use that just to get that extra layer of subcutaneous water out of your system, just so you can look a little tighter on stage. And when there's other ways to do it as opposed to using that, and I've used natural diuretics over the years in bodybuilding, worked very well for me. People don't realize there's a lot of good ones out there, but I've spent the last 30 years out of bodybuilding in health and wellness. And I'm a kind of a self-taught nutritionist. I just got back into a little bit of consulting with people. I've had a few people reach out to me on Instagram in regards to posing, by the way. So I'm looking into a little bit of that right now too, and helping people out. So just getting back in the field I love. I've always helped people over the years, had a lot of clients. I used to have a couple gyms, couple training studios. So I stayed into the game for a while and got out of it probably about 10, 12 years ago, the gym business and the fitness business and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. What was your most memorable show? What was your best show?
It got to be the Canadian Championships and the Universe together.
Yeah.
If you're talking overall, yeah, you can't beat something like that for me. I'm a natural bodybuilder, taking something that nobody's ever done. On the pro level. You can't beat the Arnold Classic shows and the Mr. Olympias. So I don't know if there's really one show that I can say stood out as something that was, for me, it at a pro level, but for me it was the Canadian Champions of the Universe, because that was something you just can't take away, man.
Yeah.
What did you do when you retired in '92?
Well, Ian, I was married. I was married for almost 28 years. Divorced now, unfortunately, and I got 7 kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's what you were doing.
Yeah, so I stayed busy. I got into the, we had when I came out in '92, there was a lot of promises in my life with businesses and stuff with the company I was involved with back in the day, which was the reason I came down to Florida. I worked for a hot stuff company. I don't know if you guys remember them.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It used to be the #1 selling protein powder in America at the time. And the owner of the company invited me down, and I became an endorser of the company with hot stuff, and ended up marrying his daughter. And unfortunately had a lot of what's the best way to put it? We went through a lot of trials within the family. They had a big family too. We ended up moving to, best way to put this, we ended up setting up a compound, a Christian compound, non-denominational retreat in Belize, Central America.
Oh, wow.
And I was there for 3 years off and on, moved my wife down there and family. We had a couple of kids. One of my boys was born down there. And we were trying to set things up. And I was married to a woman with a father that was very smart man, but very manipulative. And unbeknownst to me, when we were in Belize, the talk of the town was that we were a cult.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, wait a minute, this is ridiculous. And there was a lot more that goes with the story, but I knew that I had had enough of this, and I moved my family back to to the United States from Belize, because we had moved down there. I moved my wife and kids, lock, stock, and barrel. She didn't want to go, even though it was her father. We came back to the States, and I ended up just getting back into a lot of the fitness things, and had a personal training studio, moved up to North Carolina, opened a gym, came back down here, worked for my ex's father again, a lot of things happened, which was really traumatic to our family, a lot of challenges. I think I took a lot of the failures in bodybuilding and in business after bodybuilding as a personal thing. I let them attack me over the years. A lot of stuff going on with family and things, and unfortunately succumbed to a lot of mental instability in terms of anxiety and chronic depression. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to handle it, didn't know what I was going through. Didn't have a lot of support, didn't know where I was going. I had to do research on my own, find out what the hell was wrong with me. And when I finally found out, by that time, it was kind of too late. My ex and I had, unfortunately, it was over for us, but it was a very lonely trip to come out of this by myself. But along the way, I found a lot of people who are going through a lot of things in life. And as you guys know, with this whole pandemic and bullshit that's going on all over the world, the mental instability that's happening to a lot of people, you know, with regards to financial, family, marriages, divorces at a all-time high, depression is at an all-time high. And you know, you got people panicking for I mean, I don't even want to get into this damn subject, Jesus, man. But I had a lot of bad travels going on through the last 10 years with what I was going through. And I had to learn to battle that on my own. It was a really a tough thing to go through. I didn't know what to do. And so everything was done on my own. I had talked to pastors, counselors, and therapists. And I really didn't find anybody who was there to give me a hand. So it was really a self journey of just finding out what was going on and how to better myself and what happened to my mind and just going through all those emotions and stuff over life and losing a lot of things. And then going through regrets of giving up my bodybuilding days. And I had to put all this stuff in the past and just thinking, okay, I lost a lot in life, man. So it's now, it took a lot out of me. And I learned a lot along the way. And I met a lot of people who were going through things and became a little bit of a mentor to some people here and there, just about some of the stuff they were going through. But and with that, encouraged many people around me, certainly several people around me, to take up some fitness activities and to also start looking at your eating habits. Because those two things alone are a big factor in bringing you back to a better place when you're going through hard times and challenges and traumatic things in your mind and you know, the anxiety and depression people are going through. It doesn't help that we're going through a pandemic, but you can help yourself by taking care of yourself, because you know this is your body. You're the only one that has the choice on how it works. So you can destroy it by doing a lot of different things with terrible foods and no fitness and stuff, or you can help yourself even if you're going through certain things. So for me, it was a really tough journey, but it was something that I had to learn how to go through and understand. And I'm able to actually use a lot of that in my time today to talk to people and help them out. So I think it's something that God had put me through, and something I don't wish upon anybody. But I'll tell you, it's been a very hard, challenging road. But it's taught me a lot of things in life, about energy, about people, just about where we are today in society and the world around us. Learning how to enjoy every little thing in life, and today, as you know, that's still difficult to do from what's happening. I mean, granted, we're kind of lucky. We live in Florida, you know. Try go living in a blue state.
Oh boy,
you're not going to force me to wear a mask. I'm sorry, guys. It's not happening, man.
I'm not right with you.
I'm too knowledgeable on health and nutrition and the health of the body and the whole pandemic stuff, which that's a whole new story. But yeah, I'm not going to be forced to do that stuff. But you know, I'm glad we live here, but I'm slowly trying to figure out what's going on in the world to try to help people out right now. I think that's right now my calling, to just be there for people that need a lot of counseling or help in fitness, nutrition, and stuff like that. And I've been through a lot of it. So for me, I think it really helps me to help other people. It gives me a lot of good satisfaction, you know.
So what are you doing now, Steve?
Right now, I work for a company. We do a lot of building around Central Florida. A lot of different stuff with a dock building company. I do a lot of consulting on the side right now. Like I said, I got back into it. I've been consulting with a lot of people, and learning how to just get back into my field. The job I have now, it's a very labor-intensive job, and a lot of good people that I work with. It's fun, learned a lot of things, but it's another chapter in my life that I'm going through, and I'm grateful that I'm able to, you know, have something in my life that I can still provide for my family, for myself, for other people. But to me, the biggest thing is just helping people out with the consulting I'm doing right now, and people are starting to reach out more. So I'm learning how to just deal with people in that aspect and see what their life is about, and trying to be help to them. And it's picking up a little bit for me. So I like that. It's kind of my field, as you know, and it's fun to get back into.
Awesome. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Amazing, actually. Can I ask you a personal question? Well, I guess it's not, but we're on a podcast. But you know, when you decided to retire or quit bodybuilding in '92 after Momo, what was your reasoning behind that? Because the direction of bodybuilding was going on, because you didn't want to be the next one.
I think I looked at the fact that when I saw Momo pass away, I had some fears of continuing on the steroids, and I have to say this, guys. Back in my day, and I'll tell you what I was told from my fellow friends back then, and I'll tell you what I did. So at any given time before a contest, 10 to 12 weeks before a show, I would probably spend about $1,200, $1,500 on steroids. Not a lot of money, if you think about it, but sometimes it can be. Unbeknownst to me, most of the guys around me were doing 3, 4, 5 times that in the amount that they were using. So I knew for me after 92 to go further, I had to take more. And I was afraid because I wasn't knowledgeable enough to know what I was doing by taking what I had taken. And then when I stopped competing, and because of that, it was years later I realized that I would have been fine, because I'd understood and I studied more about the steroid industry and everything I was using. And I know I would have been fine, but at that time I kind of lost motivation because I was also involved with a lot of business things that I was trying to be involved with my ex's father. And there were a lot of promises made there too, working for his company. And so I thought I had a great future. I had already been a successful bodybuilder, so I wanted to take that success into business. And unfortunately, there was a lot of bad business deals, a lot of promises that were not made. And so me going on my own, doing all my own things, I had probably a dozen businesses over the years, man, from fitness to construction to window tinting, even in the supplement industry. And again, I didn't take that success in bodybuilding and bring it to that. Going through a lot of the other things that were happening in life, but I wasn't a big user in the roid industry, but I knew I had to take a little bit more. And again, I would have gladly done that, knowing what I knew about a year or two after that. But, you know, again, I'm not going to have regrets of getting out of the sport. I like what I'm doing now. I'm actually training a little harder. I do mostly band work, by the way, rubber bands. A lot of yoga. I'm into yoga big time because without that, I don't think I could be able to walk. I mean, you got to look at a guy like me back in the day. I'm 5'4". 170 pounds contest weight. I'm squatting 500 pounds. I mean, that's a lot of weight for a little guy. And I paid the price over the years, my lower back and hips and everything. So yoga's helped me a lot. I mean, it's powerful tool for, and I believe every bodybuilder in the world should use yoga. It will make you a better bodybuilder, but most bodybuilders don't stretch. Back in the day, nobody stretched. And so it was like, and I did stretch, but not enough. I did more stretch than everybody else. But nowadays, if it wasn't for my yoga, I don't think my lower back would be able to handle anything I'm doing today.
Steve, with your kidney problems, did you have to monitor that quite a bit when you were competing?
No, because when I found out why I had a kidney disease, it wasn't until the doctors didn't tell me why I had it. It wasn't until years later where after I was, so deep into nutrition and then studying it. I had this old book that came across my desk one day, and I started reading it, and it had a chapter on a kidney disease called glomerular nephrosis. I'm like, wait a minute, that's what I had. So I started reading the chapter and found out that my disease was caused by a concentrated source of protein that I had taken massive amounts over the years. Now, I grew up drinking milk by the gallon every single day. And I would go to school with lunch with 3 sandwiches with white bread and that marbled luncheon meat, some of the worst protein you can put in your body. And I grew up with all this horrible protein and this horrible diet. And so those concentrated sources of protein had a lot of different toxicity to them because of the mixture of stuff they had in it. And again, that's just a lot of the stuff they use in the industry today. When I found that out, I realized that I was okay in bodybuilding because I ate clean, as you guys know, we all do in bodybuilding, ate pretty clean. And then I wasn't a big protein user in the even as an amateur or pro bodybuilder. Because I knew that massive amounts of protein were really not good for your body, and they create a lot of toxicity in the body, high urea and so on. And we can get technical, but it's, and I know, matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Milo Sarchev, a good friend of mine, he's really big into high protein, and I disagree with it. But I'm a 90% plant eater, guys. And to me, it's fantastic to eat that way. I'm not against eating meat. I do have it occasionally, maybe once a month if I'm lucky, twice a month, but very small amounts. But my kidneys never really got affected when I was in the bodybuilding field, and even after coming out of that. I do have a lot of, let's put it this way, my kidneys still carry a lot of heat, and that heat can turn into a lot of different scenarios. And so sometimes it can create a little bit of tension, and I have to learn how to manage that. And it's basically from nutrition. I have to drink a lot more water and watch some of the things I'm eating. But I was actually, unbeknownst to you guys, I did an interview with Muscle and Fitness magazine back in the day because I actually became a vegetarian bodybuilder as a professional. And I had done that for, I think, well over a year, and did an interview when I was in Venice Beach. And I did pretty well for that year and a half or so as a vegetarian bodybuilder. That was the only one in the world. Andreas Calling, if you remember him, he kind of was like that, but I think he was more of a dairy eater also, but no meat. I don't remember. But I was never a big protein guy. And again, today, my health is 10 times better by just plant eating. And I actually do teach a lot of people the benefits of plant eating right now. Something I'm starting to write about more, just for the fact that the healthiest diet in the world is plant-based, as we all know. Again, it doesn't mean I'm against meat. I think if anybody's going to have meat, personally, I've written an article about it a couple of months ago for a magazine. And meat can be dangerous if you're not eating grass-fed, free-range meat, because you're taking in a lot of toxicity, you're taking in a lot of poisons, you're taking in some of the worst things in the world, and the hormone levels through the roof. You're taking massive amounts of hormones. You're taking massive amounts of antibiotics. As you know, that about 80%, I mean, you guys don't know, 70 to 80% of all the antibiotics in this country are fed to cattle industry, or the CAFO industry, they call it. CAFO stands for Confined Animal Feeding Operations. They feed them to pigs and chickens and cows and stuff. So you're taking a lot of that into your body. And I've done a lot of research on that over the years. And I kind of advocate people, if you're going to eat meat or eggs or dairy, make sure you get grass-fed, because it's the only way you're going to be a little safe with it. But, you know, that's easier said than done for most people.
Eat fish, Steve?
Sorry?
You eat fish?
I do actually eat occasional fish, yes. I'm big on, I'll probably eat fish maybe once a week. I've decided to up that a little bit because I'm up in my training. I'm trying to put on some weight, guys, believe it or not. And I actually react pretty easy to training. And I've gotten serious over the last several weeks and months. Just a little bit more band training, more isolated exercises with my body and stuff like that. So now I'm trying to put on some weight. So I'm actually increasing a little bit of my food intake, not a lot of protein, but I've added fish twice a week. And like this week, I haven't had any, so it's not a big deal. I feel fine. I mean, I'm training hard, training consistently. And I mean, I don't know if you guys ever train rubber bands, but to me, it's some of the most isolated training in the world, especially for guys like me that have been through the ringer with bodybuilding and the shoulder injuries. I've had a few shoulder injuries over the years, so that's really helped me.
Do you ever do fasting? I'm curious now.
Sorry?
Fasting. Do you ever do fasting?
Yes, I have, as a matter of fact. I think it's phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I'm an intermittent faster. I've been doing intermittent fasting for the better part of about 10 to 12 years.
Is that why you don't eat until like 11 o'clock and you're like?
Yes. And right now I'll do intermittent fasting 5 days a week. And because I'm up my training a bit, excuse me, I've kind of adjusted the time a little bit. But basically my first meal of the day during the week is probably around, lately it's been about 10 o'clock. I've gone a little earlier, but on the average, I've been eating about 11-ish, and my last meal would be around 7. So my window of intermittent fasting is about 7-8 hours on the average. I've gone over that a little bit here and there, but I'm so used to it that I know my body, how it reacts. I still believe in it. I think it's powerful, not just for individuals, for athletes also. It's if you know how to do it right. Again, it's not hard to do. It's easy, but it's just learning how to get past that hurdle. It really opens up a lot of avenues in your health and your body and your mind when you do intermittent fasting. And you know, it takes a little time to get used to.
I'm thinking about doing the same thing. So if you're doing all plant-based foods, what's a typical day look like for you? What do you eat in a day? And how many meals do you do? I
do 3 kind of meals, Ian, and my meals consist of vegetables like crazy, fruits, less of the fruits, beans, grains, nuts and seeds. I do a lot of stir fries. I'll make patties out of beans and rice and all kinds of spices and vegetables and stuff like that. I'll do oatmeal bars. I make my own oatmeal bars. I do a lot of fermented foods. I make my own sauerkraut. I make my own pickles. So I do a lot of that stuff on my own. I do make my own kombucha. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
What is that?
Oh yeah.
Kombucha is
It's a fermented tea.
Yes, it's a fermented drink.
It's
so powerful. And who's this lovely lady?
Hi, my name is Maddie.
Hi, Maddie.
It's been wonderful to hear your story.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's on our show. She's a bikini competitor.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, starting young. I'm 22, so hopefully I can do it for a little while.
Oh, good girl. Keep it up. It's powerful. I've had a couple of the pros go on my Instagram recently in the physique and bikini and bodybuilding thing. One of them was as Natalie, what's her name? Coelho or something?
Natalia
The
Coelho.
Right.
What's her name, guys?
Natalia Coelho.
Yeah, Natalia Coelho, yes. So she friended me on Instagram several, I don't know how long ago. So I've been watching some of her a little bit here and there, but it's keep up the good work, man. It's powerful sport, but keep your head on.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody get to you.
Thank you.
Because it can drive you a little crazy at times, but it's awesome. I'm glad you're doing that, man. You're at the perfect age. Good luck to you. I hope you do well. Are you competing, by the way, or have you?
I've done one show so far in May, and my next show is in October.
Awesome. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
I gotta say, when I was doing some research on you, Steve, and everybody was talking about you and Ralph Moeller standing next to each other.
I have that picture to this day.
Yeah, he's like 6'5", 6'6",
6'7", I
Is
think.
he 6'7"? Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how is he? How is he in person?
I met Ralph a couple of times. Ralph, as you know, he won the universe in the same year I did.
Mm-hmm.
And Muscle and Fitness took that picture of us way back then when we were doing the double bicep shot. And he was behind me and I was in front of him. He's like up here and I'm doing like this. And it's like, he's behind. We're like, this picture was hilarious, man.
Let me see if I can find it.
When I'm standing on stage with him in the Arnold Classic, that picture that him and I are standing next to each other is in the Arnold Classic.
I think I got it.
And he, great guy. I mean, obviously he didn't have the best physique. I think his height, he just, he had decent upper body, didn't really have legs to match. And that's no disrespect towards him. His symmetry and putting that all, having that flow was not a typical flow for bodybuilding and stuff like, but he became very successful in the movie industry, obviously, as you guys know.
Yeah.
So great guy though, man. Spoken to him a couple of times back then, very briefly.
Yeah, I thought that was funny when I saw it.
Somebody posted on Instagram, I can't remember how long ago, and a lot of cool comments came out, man.
Mm-hmm. Brian, got anything?
Man, I'm just enjoying the stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we love hearing the stories, man. They're great.
As a fan of the
man,
sport,
I got so many guys we could be here for hours, but that's it's bodybuilding. For me, it was a great avenue to where I am today, but it was also an avenue of sadness and challenges after bodybuilding, because where it brought me into where I am today. It's a long story, but I look at the bodybuilding today and I see the guys today. I see the way they look, and I see the way, and even their posing. I mean, these guys are, don't get me wrong, they're phenomenal athletes, but I'm sorry, man. That's not bodybuilding.
right.
Those are gargantuous, massive monsters. And they look, they're phenomenal. But it's not like back in our day, guys. I'll probably get a lot for this, but, these guys are all awesome people. Personally, I think they're probably great guys and stuff. I haven't met any of the bodybuilders that today's day and age where they're massive like that, the Field Heath and guys like that. I did meet Jay Cutler. I thought he was great. I thought he was really good winner Mr. Olympia. He had that massive look for a while, but I think it was just more after that. It just started getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't think it flows. I don't think it's classy. I think bodybuilding back in our day was better, and even Dorian, I think looked more classy. He kind of set that standard to where these guys are today. He still had that decent look, and again, these guys today, they look great. It's too massive. It's blocky. It doesn't flow. There's no symmetry, and that's what I see. And again, it's a different sport today. It's a completely different sport,
Yes.
you know? So, and there's a lot of comments with bodybuilding today on these shows that I see on these YouTube channels and podcasts and stuff. And at any given night on those shows, any one of those top 5 should have been the winner. I mean, let's face it. It's all a matter of what judge likes you more. I think, am I wrong?
Steve, did you do many shows with Lee Labrada?
Lee Labrada, I sure did, man.
Did you guys get compared a lot? Because y'all were about the same height, right?
I did get compared to him in a lot of ways. I thought Labrada was absolutely fantastic. What a classic bodybuilder, man. He just had a great physique. I think from my knowledge back in the day, and I look at him now, I think Lee's weakness probably was a little bit of his back, maybe. I don't, but not a lot. He had a really good flow and physique, man. I mean, look at the guy. He placed second in the Olympian one year. Great person though, man. And he still keeps up today. He looks great today. I've seen him in a couple of things on videos, but he was a great guy. I love Lee, man. We've had a lot of conversations because at the time, Lee was involved with metrics. I think it was, metrics. And I was with Hot Stuff. So we were kind of competitors. So we used to bust chops at the contest here and there, man. But he went on to do his own thing. But got a lot of stories from some of these guys back in the day, man. We had a blast.
Yeah. We'll have to get you back on again. Tell some more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You guys got anything else? Maddie, got anything?
Now you got me thinking about the possibilities of being a vegan bodybuilder, seeing that you were so successful being vegetarian. I mean, there's a lot of healthy ways to continue bodybuilding, and it's crazy that we overlook things like that, and we always go for like what is so mainstream, that our protein, just doing like eggs and ground chicken and things like that, but we kind of don't look at the other side of being vegan or vegetarian and that working just as well and being healthier. Because we talked about this on our podcast a little while ago about longevity and wellness, and we don't prioritize that as much in the bodybuilding industry as much as we should.
You know, Maddie, I think people are afraid to go to that place of giving up this sort of eating habit, not realizing that you have absolutely everything you need in a vegan, plant-based diet. Now, don't get me wrong when I say vegan, because there's a lot of things. They have a lot of food out there for vegans and plant-based that are absolutely bottom of the barrel trash.
Right.
And those are things you have to watch for. But I've done way too much studying over the years. I've been a plant eater for a while. And again, I'm about a 90% plant eater. To me, having the meat is like a dessert, maybe, but I don't miss it. And I don't think people realize the nutrients, the amount of quality protein, not protein, quality protein, quality carbohydrates, quality essential fatty acids by just eating this way. Back in the bodybuilding days, I remember I was one of the only guys taking essential fatty acids. And some of the bodybuilders used to ask me about this stuff when we go on tour, because I had studied a lot back then. And now, today's day and age, everybody uses essential fatty acids. But personally, I still don't think they use enough, because your body wants to function on essential fats more than it does on carbs.
Right.
And if you could find that balance by eating plant-based with carbs, protein, and fats, you will become more successful, as opposed to eating these high amounts of protein and maybe just a little bit of broccoli and cauliflower each meal. There's more. There's so much more nutrients in plants and the different types of vegetables and fruits all over the world that we have access to 24/7 now. But only even in your own backyard, growing your own stuff, or buying local plants and buying local vegetables and fruits, your body will respond better. You will have a longevity. Wellness is a big part of that, as you know. You will feel better. You will absolutely train better. You will absolutely have less susceptibility to injuries if you eat this way. because these foods provide you with some of the most powerful nutrients in the world. People don't know that. They're afraid to eat it. Well, I just had a big bowl of salad. Okay, that's all I need. You know, and I need more. I need something. I need a bunch of protein on that chicken and all this stuff. But they get bored of it and they go back to this eating habits. Whereas you got to put the foundation in, and it takes a few months. When you start eating this way, your body will adapt, and you will notice major things happen, and you will find yourself making better gains, and you'll see the changes in your training, your energy, your mind. It's night and day. So, I mean, I can talk for hours about plant-based and what it does for you and the things that provides for you. But, you know, it's the biggest problem with people when it comes to that, and I'll tell you, is learning how to prepare your own foods. You spend more time in the kitchen, and that's where people get a little confused, or they get a little bored about it, and they don't want to do that anymore. So they get back to quick, let's just have piece of chicken, some broccoli, and a bowl of rice. Okay, how's that working for you? Add a little more to it. Just watch what happens. Prepare some more. So if you don't take that time to prepare for yourself in the kitchen, well, later on in life, it's going to be a little too late. And you can be a competitive athlete eating this way. It's been proven over and over again all over the world. But you just have to know how to do it. And again, I've been teaching this for years, so it's I'd be more than happy to speak more to you, Maddie. Reach out to me anytime, man. I can share some stuff with you and maybe even look at what you're doing. But I think it's a powerful tool for people to at least add a little more of that to their diet, even if you are competing as a bodybuilder, bikini athlete, or whatever, in any of those sports. Any of that genre when it comes to our sport of bodybuilding and so on. I believe that people need to bring the protein down. And I know they should bring the protein down, up their intake of vegetables and a little bit more plants, and especially nuts and seeds. People should not be afraid to eat those. They are such a powerful tool for you. And there's so many different types out there. But I mean, again, I can go on for hours about the stuff and what it does and combining them and making stuff. But if you're looking along those paths, study and research it. Reach out to me. Let me show you some stuff that might help you out a little bit. But it's helped me a lot in my travels right now, and helped me get through a lot of the challenges I've been through in my life by eating very well. And eating plant-based and just taking care of myself better.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I had a health scare last year, and I'm very interested in reaching out to you and asking you some questions, Steve.
You mind if, okay, well, you know, I won't ask you on this podcast, then please feel free, because I actually just dealt with 2 cancer patients over the last 2 years, and I'm not a doctor. I just helped them with a little bit of their diet and stuff like that, and saw some amazing results with them.
Steven, you okay if I send them your number?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll send you guys his number.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, I would love to, because I'll tell you what I had open heart surgery. I had 14 heart attacks last December, and I ended up having emergency open heart surgery. And I had 6 bypasses.
Good Lord in heaven, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Ian? I'm happy you're still here, brother.
Yeah, I'm lucky to be here, but ever since it happened, I've been thinking about just taking meat, animal protein out of my diet completely. So I'm very interested to get in over here.
I tell you what, Ian. I've got a fantastic idea, and I think it's a great challenge for you.
Yeah.
Reach out to me. Let's spend some time together. And then let me show you some things, and then maybe come back a month or 2 later and watch what happens, and that these guys see you and see the changes you've made.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to, Steve. I really would.
I'd love to help you, brother. I would love to be there to help you, man.
Thank you so much. That means the world. No, I definitely will. If I can get Steve's number off you, Jason, I'll
send it to you. Yep.
My pleasure. It's a passion of mine, man.
Yep.
I no problem being there for you, brother.
Yeah.
You
And
so
you know, and I'll say, you know, you and I have been talking for a little bit while, Stephen, about doing some of these things that you're interested in and start doing this and stuff. So I definitely would love to have you on some more. And, you know, depending on the topic, if it's a topic about vegan or, you know, depression, all that, you know, any different thing, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got so many topics. I mean, here's a big one. This might be a little bit controversial, but maybe we can touch on this some other time. People don't realize the benefits of cannabis. And that's a big subject.
Yeah, I'll let you guys talk about that.
Yeah, that's a whole, I know. Jason, I know you can't talk about it, man.
That's,
But, I mean, hey, I'm not.
yeah. We're talking about the
You know, one of those
medical,
potheads or whatever.
grade, right?
Yeah.
But I teach people how to navigate on using that for medicinal reasons. Because as you know, in Florida, you can get a medical card and stuff. So I've done a lot of research on that also, guys. That's a whole new subject. But there's a lot of different topics that I've been involved in over the years. And I've written a lot of different articles and stuff over the years. But yeah, feel free to reach out, man. I'd be more than happy. I love just talking away about stuff like this, man.
Well, I've recently just been speaking to a guy that's got a CBD company.
Yes.
And that's quite amazing. I did not realize there were so many things, so many different dosages of CBD. I'm quite new to it, but you know, it looks fascinating.
I've been using CBD for years, and it's a powerful tool. And there are a lot of people in America and the world who actually have learned to use CBD with a small amount of THC, which enhances the availability and the benefits in the body. Again, it's a whole new subject, but yeah, CBD has gained a lot of ground. But of course, like any supplement industry, there's a lot of bad CBDs out there, so you have to know what you're getting. But a very powerful product, man. It's really amazing how it just opens up this entire. I'm not sure if you guys know what the way the human body works. You have what's called an endocannabinoid system, discovered in the 90s. And CBD is a big factor with that, and on how it opens up your whole system and revamps the body, almost recharges it. But again, there's so much to know about that product and this subject. Maybe we can cover one day on CBD, who knows? But again, it's another topic that I've researched and written on, you know, for a while over the years. But yeah, Ian,
I have a doctor that comes on with us too, and we talk about all different stuff. So
interesting.
Yeah.
There's about 20 podcasts to go here.
Yeah, man, we got our lineup for the rest of the year, I think.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, if you don't mind me reaching out to you, Steve, I would love to pick your brains. I really would.
Please do. Yeah, I'm here. I love to help people out when it comes to stuff like this, man. And I'd be more than happy to be there, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Stephen, man, I appreciate it. And we'll be in touch.
Appreciate it, guys. Jason, thank you so much for having me. Guys, thank you so much, man. I'm very thankful for you guys inviting me on. And I look forward to hopefully coming back and talking to you guys some more.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. You got to get us some more stories ready. we love, man, we're like little kids, man. We love hearing the stories.
I know. So do I.
All righty, sir.
Thanks again, guys. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you. All right. Have a good
great
evening.
night.
All right. You too.